Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lost Love Stories. It's our first official guest spot episode, and I'm so excited because I have been so just really thrilled to have my first guest be one of my most favorite humans, my son Jake. So, welcome, Jake, to the Lost Love Stories, and thank you for being my number one guest and guinea pig. Appreciate
No problem. Always willing to help.
it.
But as she said, my name is Jake Baker. I am Pam's second son. I was born and raised in Georgia, Roswell area, and recently moved down to Jacksonville with my older brother. And things have been going pretty well so far. I'm doing trades as my job right now, but it's going it's going pretty good, I think.
I think it's going good, going well as well. you're you're doing great. He's learned a lot of new skills this past 6 months, so it's really good.
Yes.
That's good. Um, for those of you who know me, and maybe you don't, and if you listen to the very first episode, which was just the intro episode, you know that I lost my husband, which obviously means that Jake lost his dad, and we're not actually talking about that today because Jake actually had a double whammy. Um, Within the same year, he also lost his best friend, and that's who we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Blake, who I adore. Um, and it was a horrible, tragic situation. But yeah, talk to us about Blake, Jakey. How did you meet Blake?
Well, it's been so long now, I don't even remember how exactly we met officially and became friends, but from what I remember, we were in the same company because I went to military school, so we were separated by companies, and we were in the same barracks area and also had similar classes and similar friends. So eventually it was just, bound to happen. Um, and one of the things that was really great about that was he lived like 10, 15 minutes from uh, my mom's house. And so we would oftentimes either like carpool or hang out on the weekends and just kind of mess around, have fun.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He
that's
spent a lot of time
all I
with
can
us, a lot of
remember.
time at the house, a lot of time at our lake house. Just like he was another one of my own children. He was, yeah. And sometimes he and I carpooled when you were still at school. He would ride with me. So
Yeah, I got in trouble a little bit. So
yeah,
sometimes I wasn't allowed to go home.
not allowed to come home on the weekends when Blake was, but that's all right. All right. So tell me, what do you remember? I know you said it's a little while, but do you remember kind of your first impressions of Blake, or do you remember seeing him and kind of seeing him around before you became friends? And do you have any first impressions or what you remember your earliest memories are?
Well, the earliest memories I have, even I guess before we were friends, was how he was very optimistic as a person. He just was always seeing the better side of things and always just very positive and just fun to be around. He brought a very nice energy to
Mhm.
the friend group. And like my initial impressions were kind of like, oh, he's out there. He's pretty out there. And I'm more of an introverted kind of person, so kind of clash, but at the same time could be the reason why we became such good friends.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I think he was good for you. He kind of pulled that shyness and introverted part of you into a bigger circle of friends for sure.
hmm
Yeah. And as you said, sometimes sometimes he was out there. Sometimes he was a full on like total
spaz.
and would make you crazy because his energy was like so high. Um, but yeah, I agree. He was so optimistic and just positive and just happy, like all the time. He was just happy. You never
hmm
really saw a down or sad Blake. That's for sure. He was awesome that way. And I want to get into some of your favorite memories and favorite times with him. And I will say, I know that one of my favorite things about him, I have a lot of memories, of course, But one of my favorite things about Blake was his taste in music, which was amazing. It was all over the place, but like he could get, I had no problem giving him aux when we were carpooling. I'm like, play something because he always played something really good. It was Billy Joel or Elton John, or he'd go old school and then he'd play current
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Really cool. But yeah, what are some of your favorite times and memories with Blake?
Well, one of the most, I guess, one of the ones that I remember pretty well is all the times that he would come into my room and just try to get some food from me because I was allowed to have a lot more food than anyone else. And so he knew if he came to my room, I'd always hook him up. And
Hmm.
so that was like the very start of the relationship was like
He brought
earliest
you
memories. He would be
that.
coming to my room, coming to get some snacks, and then we'd hang out and just talk,
Mhm.
mess around, stuff like that. Another one of my favorite memories happened one of the times when we brought him with us to the lake, and we have some family friends, or I guess yeah, family friends. John and Pam Brown. They have a lake house up in Wadawi, like we do, and they also had this. It was kind of like a four wheeler, but it had like a roll cage on it, and it was one of those weird. Um,
Yeah, like some
I
sort
don't
of
remember what it was called.
animal.
It was something like that,
Yeah.
and we had been drinking a little bit. I mean, we weren't blackout or anything, but it was enough to cloud our judgment a little bit. And so we took that out, drove around a bit, and then we were like, hey, we should try to drift this thing. And it is not meant to be drifted at all.
Mm.
So as soon as we tried that, we went fast, tried to turn it, it immediately rolled over. um, and then we both fell out of it, somehow avoiding serious injury
Mhm.
because it was
Although, didn't he break his arm?
he did break
He did.
his hand.
His hand.
But that is he did it. He broke his hand because he stuck his hand out of the roll cage to like stop it, sort of on instinct,
Hmm.
and that broke it. But could have been much worse.
It very much could have been much worse, you
And
idiots.
we felt dumb,
Hmm.
very stupid. We were like, why did we think we could do that?
Oh my
This
God.
clearly does not have drift capabilities. Okay,
Yeah. No, it did not. Oh my God. I was so mad at you. So mad.
it's
Oh my
a little
word.
embarrassing. Yeah.
Um, yeah, talking about the food, it's so funny because of course, as you know, I worked at the school for a little bit of time and always had lots of food in my office and he visited regularly, as we know.
Uh-huh.
He liked his snacks. Um, so um we'll talk about what are some of the times that he just drove you like crazy, where you're like, "Urgh," I like made you insane.
Well, like I said before, he's very extroverted,
Mhm.
and I am not so much extroverted. So one of the things that would drive me up a wall sometimes is him trying to constantly be doing something at
Mhm.
either at the house or going places or anything else except for chilling in the house, which is
Yeah.
my favorite thing to do. So he always had some sort of plan to go hang out or just I don't know, having fun,
Yeah.
really. But that's not exactly my style. I have a very limited social battery, and his was constantly at max charge. So there's a little bit of not conflict between those two, but it was back and forth. Like, no, I don't want to do that. He's like, come on, just come on, just do it. Come on.
Nagging you to get out of
Yep.
your off your
Mhm.
and out into the world.
Yep.
Mhm.
Um, and also the thing about the food too that pissed me off just a little bit because he would always steal my good food.
Oh yeah, all your favorites.
All my favorites, yeah. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, that's fine. But then it was months and months in a row. I'm like, come on, man, please, just don't eat those. I'll give you something else.
Pick anything
Come
else.
on. It's like, I don't like that stuff. I like this.
Hmm. It's funny because we'll talk about this a lot as this podcast goes on, but I know you've seen this happen too because unfortunately you've had multiple deaths throughout your life, and it's one of the reasons people might be saying, why is she talking about these annoying things about somebody who's passed away? But I think that's part of their charm, part of their
Hmm.
who they were, and we can laugh about it now. And I think that a lot of times when somebody dies, there's no space to talk about the things that weren't like perfect about them, but nobody's perfect. And I think that's just part of their story. It's part of your history with them. And I think that it's okay. It's actually good to talk about those things because nobody has a perfect relationship. Nobody's a perfect person, and every relationship has really great parts and some so annoying parts. And what happens when somebody passes away is they're sort of put on this pedestal of perfection, and
Hmm.
I don't think it's fair. It's not fair to the people left behind, and it's not fair to that person because it's not being true to who they are. So, just giving
Yeah.
you a little history as to why I'm asking those questions because I just think that it's part of who they are. And
Yeah.
again, it was annoying, but also it's Blake, and it's also charming. It's part of his charm. That whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So let's talk about um when he passed away. Like, do you talk to, like, just tell everyone what happened, and where he was and how he got to be where he was, and then what happened, and walk us through that.
All right. Well, this happened the, want to say it was 2020, I believe. Yeah, it was 2020.
2021 was it?
I feel like it was because they had gone skiing up or over in California. They
The
had
year you
gotten,
guys graduated high school?
yeah.
So it was winter of 2020 into spring of 21 then, because you guys
Yeah.
graduated in 20. Okay. Yeah.
So we had, or I wasn't up there, but it was Blake, Nick, BK, and Newsom, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
All four of them went up to the California mountains and got a job as one of the ski patrol people. So they had their room and board set up, and they had planned to be there for like a month or two. And so they were skiing and snowboarding every day and having a blast. And then one day, Blake took a fall, and it didn't seem like it was that crazy of a fall, but he did hit his head, so it could have been, concussion or something. And that later that night, um, he ended up passing away from a brain bleed. So there's actually two theories. I never got the confirmation, but I'm pretty sure it was the brain bleed. It was either that or it was an asthma attack that happened and ended up he couldn't get past it and ended up passing away that night. And the next morning is when I found out because one of my other really good friends, Nick, had called me. I actually remember exactly where I was. I was in my mom's living room eating some breakfast on the couch. I get a call from him, and he says something happened to Blake, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I said, "Is he okay?" And it took a second for him to respond, but he said, "No, he's not." And I couldn't say the full question, but I was like, "Is he trying to say is he alive?" But he said, "No, he's not. He's gone." And I just remember feeling so angry and sad because, like, what the hell? How did this even happen? They were fine 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
No reason that this should have happened. A brain bleed? Like, are you kidding me? And just all those emotions all hit at once, and I didn't really know what to do about it. And so that's the only part of that day that I remember.
Hmm.
I don't remember what I did for the rest of the day. I definitely cried,
Yeah.
um, but it was just so sudden and no real way to prepare for it at all.
Mm-mm. Not for that.
No, and just really hurt the whole friend group because we were all very, very close.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Yeah, that was a horrible day. I don't really remember much of that day either. It was almost too much to
yeah,
have your brain wrap around. Obviously, break my heart was breaking for his family and for you guys and your whole friends. You guys are so tight. There's something different about going to military school together. It's like when you go to college, you're living and eating and breathing and working and playing 24/7 with
hmm,
those people, and it's just builds just a different level of a relationship. They become your brothers, like
yeah,
truly. And yeah, and I think that was really one of the things that was so beautiful about when we did his celebration. Talk to us about that. Just of course, being where it was, being so symbolic of what you guys had together.
right. So the celebration of life took place at our high school, Riverside Military Academy. It was in like a little covering area by the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody who knew Blake, whether from school or from family friends or anything like that, they all came up to this lake and we did um, speeches about his life, celebration of life for him. And all of the all of our closest friends all went up to speak. So I spoke, Nick spoke, BK, Newsom, and obviously his parents, um, and a few of the faculty members as well. Just trying to emphasize the good that he did in his life because everybody knew how positive he was and how much of a character he was because he was unique
Mm-hmm.
and in a good way obviously, but
Yeah.
there's just it felt like such a huge loss,
Yeah. Right.
and being able to express how you're feeling about it to everybody else who's feeling probably the same, it leaves room, some good room for closure.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it wasn't over after that. Um, it still is a sting till this day. And we like our my friend's group chat is called For Blake, and we celebrate his birthday. We celebrate his little brother's birthday. We he his little brother was, I want to say, 6 years younger.
Yeah, quite a bit.
He's
Maybe
Duncan's age.
I want to say he was like 11 or 12, wasn't he?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so we obviously went to comfort his mom, his brother, and his dad, and just brought us pretty close as a community to celebrate this. But it still is so shitty that it happened.
Yeah. It still doesn't feel real sometimes.
No, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. So crazy. Well, besides the group chat, and I love that you guys name your group chat that. It's just something that pops up. You can see it regularly. I love that.
No.
I love that you guys still look after Aaron and his little brother and celebrate, acknowledge his birthday and all of the good times. Um, Anything else you can think of that you do and just try to keep his memory alive?
Well, whenever we get together as a group, we'll usually do a toast or two to him, and we'll sometimes swap stories about just how what our experience with Blake was. I keep almost saying Bambi because that was his nickname.
That's right. It was.
Um, and so I don't know. I've known him as Bambi for so long
Mhm.
that saying Blake is just almost
I know.
odd.
That's true. That's true. That's so
Yeah,
funny. Um, I think that's the other reason I really want to do this podcast is because it's just a place to keep your story and keep their memory and just those stories alive. What I've found since your dad died is people don't really talk about him that much anymore.
yeah,
And that's one of the reasons why I think that people are uncomfortable with it because they don't want to bring things up because it may make you sad or make you cry. But to me, I love hearing the stories. I love um, hearing having people share, especially memories I didn't know about or pictures I never saw. Those are just cool ways to keep their memory alive. I mean, I think the
yeah.
memories are what keeps them alive. When you guys start having your own kids, we're going to talk to them about their grandfather that
Oh,
they
of course.
didn't get to know, but we'll make sure they know of him. And that's just really important. That's really one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast too, is just to have a place for these stories to be told because they're beautiful and tragic and amazing and painful. They're all the things, but that's life.
Yep.
You have these as part of the journey. So, and speaking of that, you do have to figure out. I mean, that was a huge loss, and of course, whatever 6 months later you lost your dad too. That's a lot in a very short period of time. Um, what do you think has helped you, or what have you done to you don't get over the loss? You figure out how to live with the loss, but do it in a healthy way. Not everybody gets to the healthy part. Some people
Yeah.
stuck and they use different things as vices to cover up the pain, to try to manage the pain. And I think you've done especially having those two big losses back to back, you've done a really good job um, of maintaining a positive attitude and not being a victim of your circumstance, and really moving forward with your life and figuring out how to do it in a way that isn't crippling and is productive. So what have you done? Maybe you didn't even do anything consciously. Like, what do you think has helped you, especially with two big losses, just get to the point where you are now, where you're happy and healthy and doing great things?
Well, one of the biggest things has to be having that community, the bedrock to support yourself. Because when losses like this happen, obviously you're not the only one affected. And because of that, you can oftentimes really get good healing from coming together, talking about it, and just knowing that what you're doing is honoring them is you're not going to forget them because like you said, they do live on in your memories and they will continue to live on. So having that base exchange with people who also knew Bambi or knew Dad really helps just solidify the loss, but also the not the good that comes from it, but the growth of relationships from other people who are affected. I think that that really helps with if you can help someone process their grief,
Mm-hmm.
then you are also in turn processing your grief through them. It's kind of like a give and take relationship.
Yeah, that's a really good point because, um, like, I know that, of course, when you have an experience and you can figure out how to um, live with the grief in a healthy way. I just remember when Duncan's friend, Duncan is my youngest. He's 16 now, and he was 12 when your dad passed. Um,
Hmm.
the remember, like, not long, maybe a year after that, one of his classmates lost his mom, and
Yeah.
we went to the funeral, and I just remember seeing Duncan with his friend just like wrap him up in his arms and just take him in. It was one of the most beautiful um, moments I've ever seen. I'm gonna start crying thinking about it because you could just see that he had such empathy for what his friend was going through because he'd been there. But it was like
Hmm.
the biggest comfort for his friend to have someone who knew exactly how he felt. And that's
Yeah.
just when you said you said you're growing together as a relationship, but also you're the growth through the grief. I've never really thought about it that way. There is growth in grief, and
Yeah,
if you can take that opportunity to grow, it is like so much of what you can give as a gift to someone else when they're going through it. Yeah. And I think you've all done a good job with that. Beanie lost one of her classmates this past year, lost her dad, and she was one of the first ones to rally to, put together a GoFundMe because it was unexpected and they're young. Um, it's just really beautiful. It sucks that
yeah,
growth is part of life, but it's beautiful to see the growth happen instead of being stuck in the grief, I guess, is my long-winded way of saying
right.
that. Yeah.
Because these people that have passed, I personally think that they wouldn't want anyone to really stay
Yeah.
so upset. Like, yes, obviously, it's a very hard thing to go through, but knowing Blake and knowing my dad, they wouldn't wish for me to hold on to that anger, that sadness, and just make myself miserable because that's not who they are. And that's
Exactly.
not how most people are. They want you to continue to live. They want you to continue to be able to be happy, even if they're not there.
Mhm.
So I think it's respectful to the past to give yourself a chance to be happy again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really true, and I think that you're right. And no one would want people to sit in misery for the rest of their
Yeah.
lives, especially people like your dad and like Blake, who are such positive people too. They'd be like, "Come on, pull up those bootstraps, let's go." You know,
Yep.
go do something big in the world. So, okay, let's just talk for a minute. What are some things now that bring you joy, and how do you what do you do with your life to make you happy and find that joy and find fulfillment?
Well, one of the things that I like to do at least is work with my hands. So we've just recently painted this house that we're in now,
Sure.
and it was a little bit of a pain, but after seeing all like the whole transformation and seeing, oh, I did that.
Hmm.
I'm the one who put in the work, got this looking really nice and pretty, so I feel good about that.
Hmm.
And it's the same with working in the trades, because I can look at something and be like, okay, I actually contributed to making something like that.
Hmm.
And that gives me pretty good happiness. And on the same vein, when I'm helping people, what it doesn't even have to be grief, but with their problems or any concerns they have, I also feel happy because I'm like, I did a good thing today.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are very good at that. You're very good at being, you're a great listener and a great problem solver and a great like mediator, truthfully. Like I know your siblings turn to you for
Yep.
guidance and help and as a sounding board often. So yeah.
Yep. That's true.
Well, this has been awesome, and I love talking about Blake. And I'm so happy to have you as my number one first ever guest on this podcast. You're forever number one, Jakey.
Yes.
Um, um, do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
Well, firstly, I want to thank you for the honor of being first episode on your new podcast. I'm sure it's gonna. I feel like my performance here is probably gonna be the low point, so you can only get better from here. But in all seriousness, I guess I just want to leave off with saying yes, death and grief and loss are very, very hard to go through for anyone, no matter who has passed. I mean, it could be your dog, and still, it's it's part of life to feel that way, and you don't need to feel trapped in that mindset because you have a lot more people when there is a death to kind of come together because, the community that was around that person all feel the loss. It's not just you. So to be able to share your grief and share the pain and the loss, I feel like it expedites the process of grief. And no, it's not going to go away, but it'll be manageable and you'll be able to be happy again someday.
Yeah. Just keep working toward the happiness.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just keep working towards it.
All right. Well, you're awesome.
Not as awesome as you.
I love you.
I love
And
you too.
thank you. Mwah. You're amazing. Thanks for
No
sharing like with us.
problem.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening and reach out with any questions. You can always reach me. And hopefully, you just keep traveling. If you've lost someone, keep working toward recovering and getting to the other side with some joy in your life. And
Yeah.
that's how we best honor them, honestly. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.